Hey guys, what's up? It's Rickcoin here, and today I wanted to extend on the last video. We talked about what could change with the duel arena to kind of change it into like a clan setting and stuff. And actually, what happened was a week later, Jagex put out a post basically saying a very brief, dumbed down version of my idea would be what's going to replace where the duel arena is right now, and how we interact with that content. So the objective of these videos is going to basically be to throw out as many kind of little details and stuff that we can. So today we're going to talk about my 3v3 idea. I know Jagex said 2v2s, but I think 3v3 is so much more skill based than like a 2v2 fight. In a 2v2 fight, you can generally come up with like a battle plan and stuff, and from that battle plan you don't really have to communicate because you and one other person are kind of doing, you got the same battle plan. With 3 people you can have a battle plan, but you might have to change things up a little bit more and stuff, and go on the fly a little bit and communicate just that little tiny bit more, and I think that's super key. So the first thing is, I hope the Jagex either adds a 3v3 to their roster of amounts of players to verse each other, or they change their 2v2 into a 3v3 instead. Now, when going over my last video, I left out a couple details about the 3v3s, and the reason for that was to keep it a little shorter. But for the 3v3s, let's talk about how we would see an ideal game play out. I would like to see a game start with 3 players on each side of kind of like a duel arena sized field, like I said before. And how this would work is everyone would, you'd have your team set up on a roster just like making a clan or whatever, or you'd go into a random portal and get matched up with 2 other random people to team up with, and it would give you this interface just like the duel arena screen, but it would have your loadout like an LMS, and everybody would get to change their loadout or what they're starting with wearing and things like that from the basic setup. And so then once everyone chose their basic setup and accepted, the rest of your team would have a final accept screen, and you would see each of your teammates gear and what they chose to wear first before it puts you into the arena. Everyone hits accept on that second screen that has 3 side-by-side layouts of all your team, and then from there you're into the game. Now I think that you should start out of view of the other team, and that there should be 5 seconds before the game basically starts, because you're all geared up, everything's ready to go. So within that 5-second period, you have time to run to the middle if you want, or switch some gear up while you're off screen. And now your 5-second timer has started counting down, and you gotta go fight with your team. Now for the first phase of the 3v3 fights, I think I would like to see anywhere between a 2 and a 3 minute singles phase, where it's basically exactly the same as LMS, but it's your team versus their team 1v1s. I think this would be the pivotal point of what makes or breaks the mini game or competitive PvP style of it, because I think that each person should have to do their own best job to stay alive to make it to basically a multi-stage. And I know some LMS fights are really short and some are really long. And when you get to the higher tiers of players, when you're prayer switching and blocking attacks, you have to find that equilibrium of, how long is a fight actually going to take if everybody perfectly hits their prayers and blocks every attack and always has mage gear on and splashes the mage gear. Is it going to take 2 minutes, or is it going to take 3 minutes? Is it going to take 5 minutes? And that's something they have to kind of work around and figure out. But for the first 2 to 3 minutes, I think there should be a single stage where your team spawns on the other side, the other team spawns on their side, and you guys run to the center. It's either obstacles or no obstacles at random, like I said in the last video, and you fight 1v1. You attack your opponent just like an LMS fight started, and from there you go and you try and survive for your team. Now, depending on how they decide to do it, they can either do a 1 round or they can do a 3 round style, and basically this would be how the points you get for kills would be determined. If they only do a 1 round style, my personal opinion is if they go with the class system where you choose a ranger or mage or melee, maybe you don't need 3 rounds because you're choosing your class and that's the class you specialize in. But I think there should be 3 rounds in the competitive style and 1 round in the casual. And for, let's say for the casual, you know, when you start with your loadout, and you're gonna start with a dragon crossbow if you choose a ranger like setup, and that's something important to keep in mind, because you know you won't get any other upgrades in a regular casual game. You'll only start with whatever class you choose in their upgraded weapon, and that's it. But in a competitive game, it becomes a whole new level, because if you do 3 rounds, not only do you choose your class, but let's say that you could go to the supply table at the beginning of the next round, and you could you'd get points if you got a kill or something, and you could use those points to get some tank legs, or you know, another main weapon depending on how well you did. And you know, we can create this whole system around how good did you do against the other team, give you some points, like a TOB chest point system for how well you did, like your splash rate versus the other person's splash rate, and hitting off prayer and on prayer and things like that. And we can add this complicated system into like a competitive PvP situation, and I think that would bring a lot of like complexity and, like, you know, strategizing, because you know, someone gets a kill and they're like, okay, run to the chest real quick, and all of a sudden, like, this guy's coming back with like a Staff of the Dead to drop to a person who chose a tank class, and now they're even more tankier because they have a Staff of the Dead special. And you know, you can go into these deep things with 3v3s, whereas, you know, maybe you won't get as much of that kind of deeper thought into the game with a 2v2 mode. But now that we've kind of discussed, you know, more rounds versus less rounds and stuff, let's go back to the basic concept of, you know, you have your singles for 2 to 3 minutes, and then it's multis, and then everybody ends up killing each other than like one side or the other. And you know, if it's competitive, that side gets a point. If it's casual, that side wins. And I think that's how the mini game should really work, is that, you know, casual games are shorter, competitive games are longer. Competitive games, you have to sign up with like a clan system to form like a semi-permanent team. And I think, you know, for the competitive side, you can also add in fees to like create your team, and that creates a gold sink, and you can make prizes with those fees, and you know, divvy out a portion. So the more people participate, the bigger the prize pool gets, just like a lottery in real life. But it's a competition to get to the top, to get 30% of all the fees or whatever that are put into the mini game, or whatever you want to call it. And that's just really what I want to talk about for the 3v3s. If you guys have any other ideas, then let me know in the comments down below. We can make more videos on 3v3s. I think the next video is going to be a little bit more about the 5v5s. Don't forget to leave a like, share the video if you do think it is pretty important for this kind of content to like have some ideas shared around. It really helped me a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to hit the subscribe if you want to see the next video.